Welcome back to another episode of the Server Performance Benchmark implemented in Swift. Today we will do the executable, and if you haven't seen the other episodes, I already gave you a small introduction in one episode. I did the project setup all in package.swift. I created the model, the database migrations, the repository service was up last time. Very interesting. And today we're going to do the executable, as I said. And with that, let's jump into the code. Okay, service done. The executable. Okay, so just to catch you up a little bit. This file is called main because this is the first entry point you have. As you can see here, I have an executable target, and the first thing that will be used for this as an entry point is the main.swift, which is fine. I just really like to have something different. So what I will do is I will rename this to executable. Executable. That's the way. And I will also, let's see, do I need foundation? Maybe not. I need the argument parser, and I need the app. Not yet, but we'll get to that point. Okay. I need a final class, which will be the executable, and this will be of type async parsable command. And now I have two options, run async or run throws. And the run async throws will only be called, as you might remember from the project setup, if you set this in Xcode. If you don't, you can do whatever you want, but this one will never be called. So just make sure the platform is defined right here. I'm not sure which version it has to be, but 14 is plenty. So just a small recap for the other episodes. Okay, so basically what I can do now is I can say print hello Archontis, and let's just run it. Looks like I messed up. What did I, yeah. This should work now. Perfect. Okay, back to the topic. Let's see, so it's building. Okay, it's supposed to only show me hello Archontis in the console. Let's see if that works. Sometimes you just forget the important part. So since I renamed it, there's no main anymore. So of course I have to say, hey, this is my main. See, ooh, build succeeded, perfect. Okay, so let's recap. First, I had the main.swift file, which will be executed automatically if you define the executable target as an executable target right here. If you don't and want to rename it, you have to say add main. So this is your entry point. And now, as you see, there you go. Hello Archontis comes right into here. Perfect. Okay. So there are quite a few things I can do right here. And one of the major things argument parser does is parse arguments into your program. So what might be some argument that we need in our server-side app? So maybe we want to have a host name. Of course, be a string, and since you don't have to assign it, but maybe want to, this can be already preset with this value. And then you might also want to vary the port. This should be some kind of int. And let's say we start with 8080. Then we also want to make sure we can run this while the Postgres database is not set up, and we can fall back to our in-memory database. So let's just add a flag for this one. This will be in memory database, and of course this will be a bool, and let's say as default false. Okay, this would be so amazing if this just works, but it doesn't. We of course need some property wrappers. So for this one we can say option, and now we have a problem, since if you add this, there's always going to be the option to say -- hostname or -h. And as you might be familiar, -h is normally used for the help. So for this time, I need to make sure that -h is not an option, because then it doesn't really know what to do. So let's define the name, and this one is going to be just long. So if you want to define hostname, you have to say -- hostname and then the value. Okay, same thing for this one. Here we can say name, and I don't really care if it's short or long, just give them both. So it can be -p or -- port. And this one is basically optional. I don't want to say in-memory database equals true or equals false. I'm just going to say, okay, do you have it or do you don't have it? So this time it's not an option, it's a flag. We have a flag, and we will say this time, because the naming is always a little bit difficult, we will say name, and we will customize this one. Custom long, and say the correct name is in memory. And we can also add some help so that people who will actually use the tool might get some information. Okay. Do you want to use an in-memory database? Okay, perfect. This is already pretty simple. And now we can actually say, I have this, let's see, print hostname, print port. This might not work. And print in-memory database. If it is set, then I want to say use in and otherwise I want to say this should work. Okay, let's see what he does. All right, so standard value, and I'm going to use the Postgres database, which of course I don't want to use. I want to make sure this one is actually used. Okay, so what you can do here, this is a nice thing about the argument parser, you can go to edit scheme, go to run arguments, arguments passed on launch. Okay, so we don't need those, but we do need those. Okay, so let's say, first off, let's do just the help. See if that works. Run it. Ha, look at that. So our options are -- hostname, which we defined right here, is only going to be the long version. There's no .h, no -h. This is going to be help, so works fine. Then I have short and long for the port. Default is 8080, which is already set here. And in memory, do you want to use an in-memory database? Perfect. Show the help right here. Okay. So let's use that. And let's say we want to not use that one. We want to say in memory. And that is it. Let's run it. Use in-memory database. Perfect. All right. And there's going to be a lot more in this coming up, but for now, this is going to be all of it. Small little executable we have. It is defined right here. It's an executable target. And in here, we have to say it's the main because the file isn't called main Swift anymore. And this is going to be the class that's executed. We can define hostname, port, and in-memory database, and we can also pass it along as arguments to the app. So now we just need to grab those 3 and pass them to our app when we create them. But this is for the next episode. So for now, let's get back to our roadmap. This is the executable. It's done. And next time we're going to talk about secrets, because those are always nice to have and we need them actually for our app builder in the future. Okay. With that, have a great day and see you next time. Bye.